our boy Mehdi Hasan having a retrospective, I suppose, on Jubilee, which was something I always kind of wanted to hear about from, I suppose, for lack of a better term, the horse's mouth. The Mehdi Hasan's not a horse. You whatever. I'm just saying the saying. Fuck you. Surrounded by freaks and loons, Mehdi on his viral Jubilee debate. So, because we've seen the Jubilee debate, I guess for lack of a better, I've reacted to it. The streamer reacted to the Jubilee thing. Oh, soy point. Whoa. And at a lot of points in time of what was said in that Jubilee, there was some fucking wretched, horrid shit. Like a dude who just admitted, like, yeah, I'm a Francoist, I'm a fascist, just self admits it. There was the freak who did like the, oh yeah, you're like one of the guys who was gonna be like first out, Mehdi Hasan, and it's just like, I've said this before, but like the main problem with Jubilee specifically is that it's just debate slop content. Because again, with a lot of the stuff that fascists debate about, quote unquote, there is no point in having a debate with them at all. Those guys were not there to have their minds changed or have like a normal discussion whatsoever. They were just there to get their clicks, become like micro celebrities on the fucking internet, and oh fuck, I get to debate this like really really good, supposed good, liberal debater Mehdi Hasan. You know, we'll see how good he is actually. Yum, 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 yeah. And it's just like there is no point in having rapport with any of these people. Their points are stupid. The things that they believe in, you don't even know if they actually do believe them, because they could just be saying that just for the cameras. And there's like Jubilee keeps having on these like stupid fucking freaks all the fucking time because, otherwise, who is going to participate in Jubilees? Because, again, conservatives, broadly speaking, do not believe in reality, which is why it's just a dog shit fucking platform. And honestly, I've said this before, but debating those people was genuinely beneath Mehdi Hasan. Like, genuinely. He is probably, I would say, one of the best debaters, easily, of our time. Like, that's not hyperbole. That's not a question. Bro wrote a book on how to debate. He even talks about his preparations that he did for this surrounded Jubilee fucking debate. Yeah, some might say, yeah, he is a master debater. Very, very funny. Very good that you said the joke. Anywho, I just want to see, like, what he, broadly speaking, probably has said in as, like, a reaction to what he decided to put himself through. Because I'm telling you, like, that shit was, looked rough. Because again, there's no point in like debating human rights, to be honest, and because these people, they don't care, right? Like, they've never given a shit. They're trying to be like little micro niche internet celebrities. Because we even saw like a lot of the exact same fucking recurring characters pop up during the Mehdi Hasan like Jubilee, like the stupid twink who thinks like the government gets tax breaks for DEI and initiatives. Yeah, we saw Nazi Barbie, fucking Lauren Southern 2.0 also pop up there. Because otherwise, like, Jubilee's not going to find any of these people. And they have to cater very often to these people because otherwise they're just going to leave. So, because they're just accuse Jubilee of, like, liberal fucking bias because these people don't live in reality. And unfortunately, reality has a liberal bias. Like, that's just how it is. But what do we got here?
Straight into it, because we've got half an hour. There's several hundred of you, and there's already a lot of questions in the chat. Let's see. Let's start with, okay, a good easy. Barry Price says, how did you feel as you were attacked by these people? I didn't feel great, Barry. I'll be honest with you. It's not easy to put a brown Muslim immigrant into a room full of white supremacists and then expect to have to deal with that stuff. Look, I love to argue and debate. Those of you who know me know I love to argue and debate. I literally wrote a book on it. It's one of the reasons I agreed to do it. Like, oh, me versus 20. I like those answers. But I didn't expect this much open abuse, racist abuse to my face. Like, this is the America we live in now. One of the useful things that comes out of this debate is you can see for yourself what is out there now. We're not making this stuff up. This is the America we live in now. In Trump's America, people are emboldened to say stuff they would never dare say in public 5 or 10 years ago, certainly not 15 or 20 years ago. People saying things.
That's a very, very good point there to start with, like, Mehdi Hasan. Again, no one would have said this shit. This would have been seen as just, like, completely fucking ridiculous. Like, everyone would look at you and be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I think more and more so that the tide is, I think, starting to change in terms of that, to be honest. Where people are just like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why are you saying this? This is just complete fucking abhorrence. And, yeah, that's also true, Boy Meets Mini. Well, maybe around 9/11 they were, but soon after that, it wasn't cool. I think, like, after Trump winning, it was kind of seen as, like, totally fine, and then soon after it was seen as like not cool. And we're starting to get into that sort of like cultural moment where it's with Donald Trump doing the, you know, further and further unhinged bullshit that he's doing now, and is tanking his approval rating more and more and more. So like, what is Trump's current approval rating, right? What is Trump's approval rating right now? Because from what I understand, like, he is basically dropping on like every issue, even on fucking immigration, which was his best thing for whatever fucking reason. Even on immigration, he has a low fucking approval rating. But what, 37% second term low. I think he made it to that exact same approval rating, like, I think fairly early on in the term. I think that was around Liberation Day, and then it went back up after he rescinded all the tariffs. But where I guess it's independents drive Trump's approval to 37% second term low. It's crazy, man. Like, people do not like the job that he's doing. Like, 2% amongst Democrats, U.S. adults at 37%, 29% amongst independents. People do not like what he is fucking trying to put down, dude. Like, cause it's just like, I mean, if you have like half a brain, for God's sake, like, no one likes what he's doing, cause he's just a mad king trying to do everything possible in order to just stay in power for as long as possible to avoid his like legal troubles. That's really all that it is.
To my face. Yeah, Barry, it wasn't great. I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I don't think we should. I always say this, like, Muslims, brown people, immigrants, black people, we're not born with thicker skins than everyone else. So of course it hurts. Of course it's upsetting. I don't want people to know that they're getting under my skin. But racist abuse is something we shouldn't normalize or think is okay as part of a debate. So no, it wasn't great. But, you know, I know how to hit back harder than most people do. So I was able to kind of take some of these people down and turn the tables on them and throw some of it back in their faces. But look, it's not pleasant. Josephine Olsen said I was so impressed with your quick recall of.
Here's the thing with like, and he made some of them really fucking mad, by the way, which honestly just makes them look worse. Like, either they look like complete fucking schizos when they try so hard to look as normal as they can, you know, but these are not normal people. They're freaks. They're lunatics. Like, they're like complete psychopaths. Every time they try to look as normal as possible, they just make themselves look like complete fucking freaks, which is really, really funny, because like it's like the exact opposite. The people who look like who are like super fucking freaky just very often can put the, I don't know, sort of facade of looking normal like very, very easily. It's so funny that that's like the opposite dynamic.
Of good arguments. Thank you very much. I'm one of those guys who like crams for exams. So night before, I'm imbibing everything. You asked me now to say again when I said when I paid that, probably couldn't remember. To be honest, this is let's keep going through these. We got JH asks, did you fear for your safety being there? A lot of the viewers were nervous seeing the vitriol in some of the participants. I did, and I took security with me. And unfortunately, the world we live in now is, you know, when we do public events, we have to have security. Unfortunately, journalists now are targeted, judges are targeted, activists are targeted, politicians are targeted, members of Congress are having their security. We live in America always was a violent country, a heavily armed country. We now live in a country where the president of the United States and some of his media acolytes are inciting violence all the time. So unfortunately, you shouldn't have to fear for your safety in a televised debate in a TV studio. But look, it would be ridiculous not to worry. I mean, did you guys see the second guy? I think his name's Richie. He's been tweeting at me for the past couple of days. Second or third guy in the green t-shirt, appropriate green t-shirt, acting like the Hulk. He was like,
really? They're fucking like, again, fascists do everything possible to try to make themselves look normal, but the more and more they try to do that, the more and more like freaks that they do. Like, they make themselves out to be. It's insane, dude. And like, I think liberals are starting to sort of like pick up more and more on this, that these people are like, they like, you cannot have any rapport with them. There is no point in having rapport with them. You can't convince them. You can't talk with them normally. Just call them what they fucking are. Freaks, charlatans, lunatics, just completely, utterly out of their mind. And I think that's, like, broadly speaking, I think that's, like, the best way to just engage with these people. You make fun of them, you call them fucking stupid. The only way that this, like, sort of spell is going to be broken on them is by socially ostracizing them from the rest of, like, polite society. Because these people don't believe in polite society. They don't believe in the social contract. They believe in none of this stuff.
This thing, where if I get mad, I just have to stay calm. That's a weird thing to say. I was sitting there thinking, okay, this is going to be very interesting 2 hours. Like the second or third guy who's come to sit opposite me has warned me that he's not allowed to lose his temper. Where am I? So yes, it wasn't great. And sadly,
That is very weird.
Of security. Charlie Henderson asks, I've read Win Every Argument. Generally, how the hell do you keep that many facts, dates, and statistics just at the ready like that? There's no way you could have predicted how unhinged they immediately got. It felt as if you had a response to everything. So Charlie, just to expand on what I said. One thing is, I'm very good at cramming and prepping last minute. Even when I was a student in school and college, I was the night before guy. I was the guy who would be looking at my notes as I walked into the examination hall just to kind of... So
Cram guy, Mehdi Hasan.
But I do cram a lot of stuff in. That's one thing. Two is, I live and breathe this stuff. So, a lot of it was already there because I've debated this stuff for years. And three, response to everything. Unfortunately for my sins, I spend a lot of time watching what the far right say. I watch Fox.
That's like a really good point, but if you just like forehead do it, practice makes perfect, right? Discipline, practice, you keep doing it, you're just gonna... Same thing with me, right? I keep saying the exact same talking points and facts all the time that I've heard throughout the years I've been sort of like living and breathing this shit, and I just remember like this. It's like, yeah, it's like it becomes like second nature to you eventually.
I read right-wing sites. I'm familiar with their arguments. So, Charlie, you may have noticed there were moments where I clocked things very quickly because I know these people. I didn't know those specific people. Jubilee picked those people, not Zeteo, obviously not me. I just turned up as a participant. But
yeah, say like if you're just immerse yourself in all this stuff for long enough, you just know. It becomes like second nature. Like maybe there's like some like really off like old-timey stuff, old-timey points and like sort of like racism they might do to try to like, I don't know, throw you off, and it's just like you can still like kind of pick up on it though and be like, okay, that's a little fucking weird. Like, with like the what? There's like this Steven Crowder thing when he was like doing the anti-Semitism to Sam Cedar when oh no, Sam Cedar, what a fucking nightmare thing fucking happened, right? Talking about like how Sam has like black beady eyes, for example. Which is an anti-Semitic trope to say that Jews are like soulless, for example, right? Because Sam Cedar's a Jew, yada yada yada,
I clocked those types of people. So when the Hulk guy was like, well, there's a genocide, I'm like, you're a white genocide guy. When the guy with the baseball cap who wanted me out, who pretended he was an economist, I called him out. When he said, well, I'm being replaced, you're a great replacement guy. When our fascist friend was quoting General Franco, I was like, you're a fascist. It's very clear. I mean, the Franco debate goes back to the 1960s. Because I've been following this stuff for a long time, that's why partly I have a response for a lot of this stuff. But I appreciate you reading the book. And as I say in the book, preparation is key. And I did a lot of preparation for the Jubilee debate.
Valentine Rabbit.
Liking this video? Then don't just watch. Hit like, share, and subscribe. And tap the bell so you never miss a video or live show. But if you want early access to exclusive content, then you have to head to zeteo.com and subscribe now. You'll be supporting fearless, independent journalism. Hussein Yarkhan says, you've interviewed world leaders and debated policies for years. How did this experience on Surrounded facing openly fascist individuals compare in terms of emotional and intellectual challenge? What a great question, Hussein. Well, first of all, it's very different. Even if they haven't all been freaks and loons, these are quote-unquote ordinary people. Actually, many of them turned out to be kind of online influencers. But it was pitched to me as ordinary people. These were not politicians. These were not people in power. Not the kind of people I interview for a living. So just as a general rule of thumb, you have to adjust your style of debate, right? You're dealing with members of the public, not people in power. So your tone, your style has to be very different. You try not to come across as patronizing. Although halfway through the debate, I kind of lost that. There's no way you could not patronize some of these people who are so dumb in the things they say. You remember the woman who came up to me and said that you can't be an American and immigrant and then reveal that her parents are Americans who were immigrants. Anyways, so sometimes you do.
Yeah, well, basically when people say stuff like that, they're just talking about. She didn't want to say because you're fucking Indian. That's 1000% what it is, right? Like she didn't want to say like, well, you're Indian, so therefore you can't be fucking American or something. And it's just like, because that's what she actually wanted to say. But that's also like again another really good point by Mehdi Hasan. Like, because Jubilee has to cater to all these like right-wing fucking freaks that they have on all the time, they have to basically give them as many advantages as possible in order to, I don't know, make them not look as freakish or something. It's just incredible. Yeah, exactly, Boy Meets Mini. Yeah, Ann Coulter did that to Vivek on his own podcast, which is fucking wild. That, it's all about the fucking xenophobia for these people in the end. They just fucking hate brown people and black people and anyone else with a fucking different skin tone from them. Like that's the only point of it. Even though, like, funnily enough, you look at the fucking statistics, which is so fucking funny about this, is overall, in the grand scheme of things, white people have always been a fucking global minority, right? There's always been more, like, brown people, like Asians, in comparison to sort of, like, in comparison to, like, European white people. And that's just, like, a kind of broader sort of, like, historical trend. Like, this is kind of how it always been. It's so fucking goofy that they just have to do this like stupid dumbass fucking racist bullshit. It's just silly to me, honestly. But yeah, more on the point of like Jubilee just has to do everything to cater to these people, because if they don't cater to them, they're just gonna not get conservative guests, right? because they have to just like say to like the left-leaning people, and I think like the same thing also happened to Sam Cedar, because he didn't know that he was going to get like also complete utter freaks, because the only people who are willing to go on there are utter freaks who want to raise their social media platform and profile. He's not gonna know that all these like complete utter charlatans are charlatans when he debates them, when he goes on to Surrounded, because again, if you knew about that, you would not go on these platforms. Like they would not be able to get left-leaning people, because the left-leaning people can immediately recognize it's like, oh, okay, well, I mean, the point of you saying it / doing these things is because you just want to raise your profile and you don't care about the debate at all, right? That doesn't matter. So what's the point in fucking talking with you? Why should I talk with you? Fuck you. There's no point. Which is correct, by the way. Which is, I find very funny when, like, the conservatives make the free speech argument. It's like, you don't support free speech if you don't want to talk to me about my schizophrenia and all my complete, utter bullshit that I believe in. And it's just like, nah, dude, I also can have the freedom of speech, the ability to also just not want to talk with you if I don't want to talk with you about, like, your fucking particular, like, strange beliefs and conniptions. Like, no, there's no point in engaging with you because you're not interested in honest engagement. Which is also, they're right under the First Amendment. But then again, it's because, like, even self-admittedly with, like, the stupid fascist guy saying, like, yeah, we just want to utilize these institutions, these beliefs, so then to get into power and then just rescind all of them. Yeah. And it's just like, well, you can't debate with people like that because, again, like I said before, they don't believe in polite society. They don't believe in society. They don't believe in the social contract. They believe in none of that stuff. So you can't debate these people. There's no point in it, right?
Do end up being patronizing. But yes, the experience was very different. As Charlie just mentioned, there was a sense of slightly foreboding and insecurity and fear, because these people is one of them a nut job, which you don't feel when you're interviewing politicians. Emotionally, yes, it was a lot more emotional, because A, they were very personally abusive, and that's not great. B, I'm thinking all the way through that I have kids. I have friends and family in this country. I live here. I've been here 10 years. I've been an American citizen for 5 years. This is our country. These are the people who are our neighbors, people in our workplaces, people in the grocery store aisle. That's what was so scary and emotionally disturbing about the Surrounded experience. And again, I'm waiting to see those of you who criticize me for doing it. I'm sure some of you wish I hadn't done it. And I'm on the fence myself as to whether it was a good or bad thing to have done. But one reason it was a good thing to have done is expose a lot of these people. It wakes people up to, these are some of the people in the United States right now. This is 20, 30, 40%.
This is a fantastic point here by Mehdi Hasan, right? Like, it exposes people, I would say more so liberals, to just how, like, because left-leaning people, lefties already know that these people are fucking freaks, right? Like, complete, utter fucking freaks. And there's, like, almost no point in engaging with these people. That's the people that you really wanted to do these things for, is to expose to just, like, guys, like, these far-right fascists, they're complete fucking psychopaths, right? We can all agree with that. And they can be like, yeah, I think you're right. There is almost, like, no fucking point in having any rapport with these people. Yeah, like you're saying, Boy Meets Me. Yeah, make the normies more aware. Like, exactly.
Of the public. I don't know what percentage you want to put on it, but it's a very loud, vocal, and growing minority. So that emotionally affected me, Hassan, to think about. This is when I left there and drove home with my colleague and the security. We talked in the car about, like, what is America effed? Like, what is the future of America? These are some of the young people in there. Let's keep going. Let's have a look and see. Imran Kukdawala says, I sound like your mum, but man, I was worried about you as I listened to those people spewing venom from their mouths. I just want to ask, were you able to sleep that night? Yes, I went out for a great Chinese meal in LA. And actually, it was a great Uyghur meal with our friends, the Uyghur Muslims, that evening. I had a good time with friends and family, ate lots of ice cream. So I'm always able to sleep well.
Ice cream?
Let's keep going. Ozhack says, this was quite the show. Your performance was extraordinary. Thank you, Oz. Has this reached audience who don't usually see you or other liberal media? I don't mean lost because crazy people, but people in the middle who may realize that political insouciance is costly. How do you measure who it has reached, and how do you further that type of reach? Will you see you on a Joe Rogan type platform? So, a lot of questions there. Look, it's a good question. One of the reasons I did it, and people said, why would you do this show? What did you achieve? I don't know what I achieved. That's something that will take time to really work out. But one reason I did it is because I'd watched Ben Shapiro and Charlie Kirk and Candace Owens, all these right-wing shock jobs do Surrounded. I watched very few progressives have done it. Destiny, if you can call him a progressive, sent Gaza, had done it to defend the Democratic Party. Sam Cena, my good friend from the majority.
Destiny's not a progressive. he's also a conservative.
Report. He did it. And Sam advised me that he said, you should do it. It's a whole new audience. To go back to Oz's question, you do reach people you're not going to reach before. And this is, for those of you, I don't know how many of you on the call are 30, 40, 50, I'm in my 40s. People who are in their teens, they watch Jubilee Media. My kid said to me, Jubilee, my niece said to me, Jubilee, you should do it. And this is, I was listening to people say, oh wow, this is a really big thing. Since the show came out this week, I've had multiple people tell me, my kids have been watching this. My kids have been asking me, do I know you? It's a huge young audience. Now, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing that young people in America are watching Jubilee, young people around the world, that's a different debate. But the reality is, it has a huge audience. I mean, it's already, as I say, 7 million views. And
that's fair.
So for me, I want to go where audiences are at. Within reason. But I do want to go where audiences are. I've never been of the journalism school of thought.
Well, to be fair, Mehdi Hasan has seen Destiny's takes on Twitter about fucking Israel Palestine, and he probably has come away with the conclusion thinking that, like, yeah, he's not like a fucking progressive. Like, does he know, like, the further underlying root cause and basis for as to why Destiny's not a progressive? Probably not, but that doesn't really matter, I think, in this particular case.
Thought that says, I just want to preach to the converted. I just want my own little small echo chamber. You remember that phrase, if a tree falls in a wood and there's no one around to hear it, does it make a noise? And I always wonder about that phrase. Like, I can do great journalism, great monologues, great interviews, write great articles, but if no one hears or sees or reads them, what impact do you have? I became a journalist to have impact on the world, not to sign up to a purity test, not to feel good about myself, not to get rah-rah-rah from a crowd of like-minded people. And to have impact, you've got to go and get big audiences. So one of the reasons I joined MSNBC was, it was a mainstream platform that I didn't agree with.
It's a very, very good point here by Mehdi Hasan, which is why I do overall think it is probably a good thing that he went on the surround. Even though, like, the people he went up against were just complete fucking freaks. Again, like, you're exposing just how, I don't know, freakish these people are. Because, again, think about the people who watch, and this is a very good point, think about the people who watch fucking Jubilees. It's going to be probably more, like, normie people. It's probably going to be a lot of, like, a lot of, like, more liberal, sort of, like, normies, probably even, like, centrists, maybe even, like, some conservatives and stuff like that. Definitely a bunch of far-right people are going to go into the comments and just probably agitate and try to be, like, annoying. That's the thing that's going to happen. You're not going to see probably a lot of left-leaning people in there because they, broadly speaking, understand, like, the whole sort of shtick with, like, Jubilee. But, I mean, again, like, we can pull up just... It's been a couple days at this point, but... for as to just how many people have watched this thing, Mehdi Hasan Jubilee. In a week, it's gone about 8.7 million views. And here's the thing, dude. You're gonna get a lot of people fucking reacting to this. Like, who is this Novara Media guy? Probably, like, some kind of fucking lib. People from The Bulwark. This is, like, a center-right leaning podcast. They're gonna fucking talk about this with Mehdi Hasan. Obviously, we got fucking the Majority Report, obviously. More progressive there in that particular instance. But it's crazy, you know? Like, Novara or Demsock? Demsocks. Okay, cool. Fantastic. Obviously, there's Kyle Kalinske. You're going to get... it's going to spread to a ton of people. And they're going to fucking talk about it. Because this stuff... It was going to go fucking viral. Like... Everybody's going to talk about that. It's going to cross-pollinate. It's going to spread further and further and further and further. And overall, like, that's just a good thing. Because you're going to talk about just how completely, like, psychotic these people are. Like, I don't think, like, conservatives are going to really touch this with, like, a 10-foot pole. Because it's going to be really fucking difficult to fucking defend a lot of what these people are saying. Because they went pretty fucking mask off. Like, maybe they'll say, like, oh, they're federal agents, they're not real conservatives, blah, 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 blah. Whatever. That's an argument that I think is going to, broadly speaking, ring hollow. And by the way, that was the footage that they were able to show, from what I understand. There was also footage that got cut. A lot of stuff, from what I've heard, got cut. So, you can only imagine what potentially could have gotten cut. Because it was... that bad already with the uncut stuff. Imagine what got cut. You can only imagine just how potentially psychotic, and they already made themselves sound as bad as they did before. Yeah, brother ew kind of a deal, right? Like, you can only imagine just how fucking unhinged, completely crazy that these people were in the stuff that got cut.
With everything about that channel, but it gave me a huge mainstream platform. And one of the reasons I did Surrounded was to reach a lot of young people who would never have heard of Zeteo and never have heard of my arguments. Forget Zeteo, forget promoting this media organization that I built, but the arguments that I care deeply about: the Constitution, civil liberties, human rights, immigration, Gaza. Those arguments, it was worth making. I probably didn't get through to most people, certainly didn't get through to anyone in that room. But I do hope, to quote Oz, the people in the middle who are watching, I hope they saw it and thought, wow, the right-wing arguments really are bullshit. Mehdi really exposed them. That's my hope. Karen D says, what would you say or do differently? What would I say differently? I think I would have said much differently. I just watched it back. I think what I said, I stand by what I said. Maybe I wouldn't have been going all the way through if I'd known what I was going up against. I literally was stunned in some moments. And apologies if it's the connection isn't great. I am on vacation using vacation Wi-Fi to come to you all. I hope you can all hear me. But what I do differently, well, I wouldn't be surprised if I'd known what I was going to. I genuinely was surprised by just how extreme they were. Would I have done the show had I known what I know now? I don't know. And I think I definitely would lean towards maybe thinking twice about doing it because I'm not someone who sits down with fascists or racists. I said,
yeah, which is what I also, which I do think is probably correct. Like, and that's the reason why they don't, like, Jubilee is not going to reveal, like, who exactly is, like, gonna be there doing the fucking debates, right? In terms of, like, the right-leaning people, they're going to fucking always lie because they know that the left-leaning people they're just not going to do the debate because there's no point, right? Like, we've seen the Jubilee. These people are fucking psychopaths. They're freaks. They're charlatans. They don't believe in anything. There's no point in debating any of these people. You're not going to convince anything. Like, sure, you can go in there with like the noble goal of like, I know I'm going into there with like debating these like complete utter charlatans, these complete psychos, and like maybe I'll be able to sort of like convince more normie people about just how fucking ridiculous these people are, just how completely crazy these people are. I think that's like, maybe that's enough to sort of justify it, but I don't even know if that's even good enough, man. Like, because there's just a lot of things that you shouldn't fucking have to debate, like human rights. You shouldn't have to debate any of that stuff. Climate change, shouldn't have to debate any of that stuff. A lot of the things that are like believed about immigration shouldn't have to be fucking debated, right? Like, they should not have to be. But for whatever reason, and this is like a problem, some of the problems that I do have with the fucking First Amendment because of how laissez-faire it is, that a lot of things kind of become debates and become things of argumentation because of it's seen as like a potential fucking First Amendment violation that the conservatives are just going to sort of like wield unfairly and unjustifiably in order to be like, you're just doing this because you want to silence me, or nah. And it's just like, brother, like, you're just saying like complete conspiratorial fucking nonsense that has been already like understood as like broader scientific consensus for like decades. Like for climate change, for example, like ExxonMobil knew that they had a hand to play in fucking climate change since the fucking 70s, but for whatever reason in America it's still a fucking debate to this day. Like, brother, we've known since the 70s. You people are just wrong. You're just doing this in the interest of fucking fossil fuel companies. Like, you guys are just insane.
Said this in the Jubilee show. I said, I don't debate fascists. People say, why don't you have X or Y on your show? And I say, election deniers or climate change. I don't have them on my show. You may notice I love a good argument, but when I wrote Win Every Argument, I said this in the book: good faith argument matters. Reality-based arguments matter. There's no point in doing arguments for clickbait.
Exactly.
And that's what this turned into in some ways. But again, in my own defense, I had no idea. If they told me you're going to sit down with a fascist, I said, no thanks, I'll pass. All right, let's keep going. Michael Connors says, I think this debate was a great opportunity to show everyone who these people are, who the Republican majority is. When you're in the midst of interviewing and debating people, how do you decide what to focus on, what to respond to, what to ignore?
See, I don't know if I 100% agree with this particular question, because I don't think that these people are the majority. These people are like active charlatans, right? They have social media profiles that they want to raise. Like, they're not like actual fucking people, for lack of a better term. Like, they're not honest. They're not there for honesty. They're there to get clicks, to try to raise their own profiles, right? Like, there is no point in debating them. You should not debate these people, because debating them is sort of like, they don't believe it. Yes, I would say, yeah, significant minority. Like, they're a very loud, annoying minority. I can agree with that, Boy Meets Minnie.
Another great question. These are great questions today, guys. Thanks. Yes, it definitely shows what the Republican Party has become and what it's becoming. I'm not saying the majority of Republican voters in this country, like the people in that room, I'm not saying that. I am saying, though, a growing number of Republicans, especially young Republicans, do subscribe to an openly fascist white supremacist ideology. I do believe the Republican Party is at best a white supremacist adjacent party, and at worst now a hardcore white supremacist party at its core. And we need to be open about that and look at who's supporting Trump and who's radicalizing online. In terms of Michael's question about what to focus on, what to respond to, I think you have to think about what is your goal. And I go into these things with very specific goals. Less is more. You cannot do everything. You cannot respond to every point. You cannot debunk every argument. But I think what you want to do is expose the key fallacies or contradictions at the heart of their arguments. So when I'm debating the young woman who says you can't be an American and an immigrant, and she says, and then she reveals that her parents are immigrants. They're Americans, but I'm not, even though I'm an American immigrant. Then immediately that becomes my be all and end all. I'm focused on this core contradiction in her argument where it falls apart. And I think what
again, like, it's because of the color of your skin. Like, that's what it is, right? Mehdi Hasan put it more eloquently than I did, because I would just be like, no, you just have a problem with the color of your skin. Like, that's it. He's about as American as anyone else. Like, that's literally the point.
What many people, not just on the right, but politicians across the board, activists across the board, what they try and do when they debate or interview is distract, deflect, take you somewhere you don't want to go. My strength and the skill I've worked on, and I hope those of you who read the book, Win Every Argument, my book, will focus on, is stay focused. Don't be distracted. Don't go chasing shiny objects. Focus on what you want to focus on. Don't let someone pull you somewhere else. Whataboutism, deflection, ad hominem attacks, putting you on the defensive. Keep coming back to what you want to talk about. In the first debate, in the first claim that I made about Trump being pro-crime, I cited the January 6th pardons. And I didn't really budge from that. Yes, we talked about Epstein, we talked about some of the other pardons, but at its core, each person who came in front of me, I said, do you support pardoning people who beat police officers? They don't answer that question, so you just have to keep re-asking it.
They can't answer that question.
Another person said, Mehdi, big fan, thank you, not related to your Jubilee debate. When will you debate Ben Shapiro? I have no idea if that will ever happen or whether he will ever agree to that. Nikki Saney asked, did you change anyone's mind? Not in that room, no, but I'm hoping people at home may have changed their mind. The last debate was actually quite an instructive one. The last claim, which the other guy, I think his name was Ty, brought forward was, he said we shouldn't have birthright citizenship. And we actually had quite a good, that was the only part of the show which was really substantive, good faith debate, no insults, no racism or open racism. We actually had a proper debate for 10 minutes, and I'm hoping I convinced people as to why birthright citizenship is important and should stay. Let's keep going. So many questions. Ty Ebright asks a good question. Why won't you debate a fascist? So I tried to explain this on the show, but I'll explain it now. Fascists don't believe in debate. They don't believe in democracy. If you're a fascist, as we saw from Connor on Surrounded, you
Yep.
believe in using the democratic method of debate, discourse, free press, free media, elections to take power and then get rid of all of that. So why
Yeah,
not
this is the exact same point I've been constantly raising. Again, like there's no point in giving fascists any light of day. They are not interested in the social contract. They're not interested in broader society. They want to use that so it can be subverted, so they can take power for themselves. That's the point.
help you do that? Why would I be your willing accomplice? There is no merit to debating a fascist, because A, at the core of fascism is violence, not speech, not debate. B, at the core of fascism is a lack of respect for human dignity and human equality, and I refuse to debate anyone who doesn't see me as an equal. Why would I do that? And C, as I say, it's a strategic goal of them to use this stuff. Connor was very open about it. He said, that's why you're here. You don't believe in the Constitution of the First Amendment. He said, I'm here because this is how we get our ideas across. They are using mainstream platforms to launder their talking points, to gain fake respectability and mainstreaming of themselves, all in order to destroy them, right?
It's really, I think, really the only thing to comment on here is that it's interesting how they've become so open about it, right? Because it used to be like 2014, 2016, they were not very open about it, right? They would still do the dog whistles, the performativity, the song and dance. Because again, how many times were like Richard Spencer, Ben Shapiro on like MSNBC, CNN, and all these other like mainstream fucking platforms, right? They used to be like not mainstays per se, but they used to go very, very often on mainstream platforms in order to dog whistle and talk about their sort of like talking points and stuff like that. Of course, it was very implicit, and they would never be like explicit without they actually believed. Like, it took a lot of people to get to be like, oh, this is bullshit because of X, Y, and Z reasons, and eventually they got exposed through a lot of like journalism and reporting. Like, again, quick reminder, like, what was it? Time magazine said that Ben Shapiro was like the cool kids philosopher, which is like you look back at that retrospective. Right, like retrospectively, you just like understand just how fucking silly and ridiculous that is, because like Ben Shapiro is just like a complete charlatan. He doesn't actually like really believe in much of anything, and it's really 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 funny that people used to sort of think in these particular ways, like back during those times, because again, it was like the alt-right and like gamer gators and stuff like that. It was all like the shiny new sort of like media object that was to talk about, because again, it exposes the broader sort of issue, I would say, with a lot of like commodified media in particular, right? Like the idea that you have to chase clicks as much as possible, you need the ratings, you need all this different stuff, and so having an opportunity to cover stuff like, well, the alt-right or whatever, this like new movement and stuff like that, like it's an opportunity to be able to make a lot of money from all the clicks that you can garner and stuff like that. It's a broader issue with I would say like with like commodified media, broadly speaking.
Right, one election, one time. That's what Connor said. We'll have one election to choose the autocrat, to choose the General Franco figure, and that's it. And then we're done. So no, I won't debate such people. There's no value to debating such people because they're not good faith debaters. Somebody anonymous says, I appreciate you doing the debate. Thank you. Ed asks, thanks for being a strong, unapologetic voice. Appreciate it, Ed. I'll just keep going. Let's send some questions. Joseph Perez asks, now that you did Jubilee, would you do it again, and would you recommend anyone to do it? That's a great question. Would I do it again? I don't know. I definitely am less likely to have done it again, given what I know now, because I didn't think I was going in to debate white supremacists and fascists. I thought I was debating ordinary Trump supporters. I know many who say that's a distinction without a difference. Ordinary Trump supporters are fascists and racists. Not all of them. Many of them are. But I didn't know they would be this extreme and this kind of organized. A lot of these people were not members of the public. They were online influencers. And that's, that's not what I expected for sure. Would I recommend anyone else to do it? I guess it depends who that person is and what the topic is. Right now, probably not. But, Sam Cedar, I don't think
I'll be quite honest. I think the only reason why they get fucking online influencers to do that stuff is because if you were to get like an average Republican voter, and I say this with like no hyperbole or anything, like they're just really fucking stupid. Like they're just dumb, and they probably wouldn't understand like anything at all. If you were to get the average sort of lumpen poll, Mehdi Hasan would like do like one or two of these counter arguments, and then they would just like break down and not really like engage with anything. Even like I would say, oh god, what's the name of the DACA guy, right? Even that guy eventually just like kind of stopped like engaging with like anything at all in terms of what Mehdi Hasan was saying, because there was like nothing to really debate there. I think like in terms of like an average actual Republican voter, I think that guy was a perfect example of an actual average fucking Republican voter. People who are just really stupid, don't really know much better besides like whatever's like their sort of like surrounding environment and stuff that they've been broadly speaking exposed to. And if you sort of like talk about these positions and these arguments to them and you don't outline them, they'll be like, oh, okay, I kind of like get what you're saying. And it's really easy to like break them out of like that fucking propaganda. There's a reason why they are broadly speaking, kept quite socially fucking isolated, because again, since broadly speaking, Trump's base is a cult. If you stray far from the cult, you will just be socially ostracized from the cult, because if you're like a non-believer anymore, it can make the fucking cult just completely fucking fall apart, right?
Mind me saying, this very good friend of mine, he did a great job on Surrounded a few months ago. If you haven't watched it, that's also there. And yeah, he said, look, it's worth doing it because it's worth reaching a new audience that you wouldn't otherwise reach, and it's worth exposing these people's arguments, the bankruptcy of their arguments. So I don't know whether I'd recommend it to anyone. It depends who the person is and what the topic is, and how they vet the audience next time, or the 20 debaters. Would I do it again? Probably not.
They won't vet the audience.
Pam says, how did you, Pam Wesolowski says, how did you wash the racism and fascism off after the end of that? Yes, take a very long shower. As I said, I ate lots of ice cream. Ice cream is a solution for many things. How did you feel? How safe did you feel going into the interview? A little bit unsafe, which is why I took security. We made sure there was security on set. Very unsafe at the end of the interview when we got the hell out of Dodge. People asked me, did you stand around to chat to people? No, I did not. I left. I went to dinner.
Understandable.
Jeffrey Awirioboa, sorry for butchering your last name, says, I'm really well done on keeping your composure, which is hard for me. Sometimes I lose my composure quite quickly, so I was impressed with my own calmness on that day. I'm really curious to understand how you prepare for such a hostile engagement. Great question. So my preparation is to do lots of research. I have a great research team that helps me. I do my own research as well. But I try and prepare. I knew what my 4 claims were. It was about Trump's criminality, Trump's defying of the Constitution, the value of immigration, and ethnic cleansing in Gaza. And I prep the hell out of all those 4 claims. My position is I want to know more about the argument. I want to know more about my opponent's argument than they do. I don't just want to know my argument. I need to know the other side of the argument. I need to know what they're going to say and when they're going to say it. And when they say it, I need to have my rebuttal ready. And so when baseball cap dude came and tried to have
that's pretty much the exact same thing I try to do as well. Understand their position, their argument, because like more or less, like very often, like conservatives very very often have like the same like 3 talking points. 3 might even be too much. Like 1 or 2 talking points when you talk about a particular topic, and it's just like, I already know what you're gonna say in the terms of this. I already know what you're gonna say in terms of that. Like, yeah, I've seen the point. No, you're stupid because of X, Y, and Z sort of reasons. Blah 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 blah. You know, shit like that.
The economics discussion when he started. What was interesting is he assumed I was quoting a paper from Giovanni Perry, which I wasn't. But that's where he messed up, because I wasn't. It was a totally different study that I brought to the table. But that's what I try and avoid doing. Don't assume what your opponent's going to say. Know what they're going to say. Be bulletproof in your own arguments and in steel manning, not straw manning. Steel manning your opponent's arguments. And in the end, when you do that, you can never be too prepared. And what's interesting is I turned up, I didn't need to steel man their arguments because their arguments were so weak, or in many cases they just didn't engage. Right? I came with an argument about how Trump is defying the Constitution. I brought a bunch of evidence: the First Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment, the 14th Amendment, the 22nd Amendment. All these ones.
Yeah, the problem is that they don't know what any of those amendments mean. Like, again, broader consequences of the death of civic education. Like, conservatives don't know about, like, any of those fucking amendments. Like, unironically, like, most immigrants would do better on, like, a civics fucking test in comparison to all these, like, stupid America First, like, nationalist types. Like, you give them a fucking civics test and they have like no time to prepare, I guarantee you an immigrant is probably going to do better than them. It's objectively one of the goofiest things on the planet.
He's violating. I had all my receipts. First guy was like, we don't care about the Constitution. I was like, oh, well, that's a very different debate to what I thought I was having. So sometimes you can prepare and then the other person's not even engaging. But preparation is key. Practice, practice, practice. And yeah, I watched a lot of Surrounded to try and understand how it's going to work, when they're going to come up, what the best use of time is. I had moments that I prepared for kind of quote-unquote mic drop moments, which I knew I wanted to make, and I had to keep an eye on the clock to make sure I didn't run out of time. So yes, don't leave stuff to chance. Don't try and wing things. Don't always be spontaneous. Spontaneity has its role, but be prepared for every engagement. Can't say it enough.
Sure.
That was Jeffrey. Joshua Richard said, what was the most alarming thing about the debate? I mean, the most alarming thing about debates is these people exist. Not just that they exist, they've always existed in the US, let's not be naive, but that they're willing to say this stuff out loud now. Like one guy claims to have lost his job, the fascist guy. I'm not sure how true that is. People say, oh, like, he lost his job earlier. He's pretending that he was a free speech martyr. But most of them are fine. They'll all be fine. Some of them are grabbing new followers on social media. I looked at a couple of their accounts. They're loving the reaction they have from their friends. It is very worrying. It is very alarming that we live in a country where you can now go on TV and say in front of millions of people, not condemn the Nazi Holocaust. That you can tell an American brown citizen that they have to get out of the country. They'll be the first to go. That is alarming. And I don't know how many times I can say this. We are living in a fascist moment in American history. For the complacent folks on the left who say, well, you know, it's actually about economics, it's actually about poverty, it's actually about trade. No, it's about very much about race and democracy. It's very much about a group of white supremacists and fascists who want to make America great again by making it white again and making it less democratic in the process. And we need to be very aware of that.
That's true.
Margaret Hayden says the debaters were primarily young people.
Well, I mean, a lot of people on the left say it's like broader economic issues because that's like the sort of basis for us to why. Because like a lot of fascists believe if you make America white, that means the economy is going to improve fundamentally because white people are like the main productive forces of society. I'm all about that, right? Like there's an intersection of all this stuff, right? Like a lot of people in their fucking desperation become more susceptible to these more sort of like populist quote unquote from the conservatives arguments, where it's just it's all about the fascism, the fucking Nazism and all that shit like that. Like it's all intersectionality in the end, right?
Was it a choice not to vary the age range? You have to ask Jubilee. I assume they lean towards younger debaters because their audience is a younger audience. I actually don't know the answer to that question. It's a great question. But yes, they were younger people, which makes it even scarier. We often think of like racists in America being old white folks in Mississippi, not young folks in LA. Comment, not question, from Kelly. I saw the guy tell you to leave, and the one saying he's a fascist. I thought you did a great job. You're an amazing debater. Thank you, Kelly. I appreciate the feedback. Let's keep going. Yusuf Panchari. Oh, Yusuf, you're so sweet and naive, Yusuf. Yusuf asked, did the guy named Joseph apologize after the debate? Well, what do you think, Yusuf? No.
No.
Doubling down on social media right now, loving his defending his bigotry and nonsense. These people, yeah. Let's keep going. Jen Cole says, how do you process after that? Here's a hug just in case you need one. Thank you, Jen. I mean, look, let's be real. Like, I don't know how to phrase this. I don't sound like a victim, but I do want to say this. I have a very big platform. I'm very privileged. Right? I have a very big platform. I've had a great education. I have had a great career in some of the best media organizations in the world. I've interviewed some of the biggest names in the world. For me, it's not that big a deal to sit down with a bunch of people and argue to us versus someone else. Having said that, I'm a big boy and I've got a thick skin and I can deal with these people. Having said that, as a generic brown American, it is outrageous that anyone should have to listen to rhetoric like that. It is outrageous that in America in 2025 anyone would dare say this stuff out loud and get away with it. I think that is a problem, and I think we need to think long and hard about minority. Sometimes we say stuff like, oh, the best way to get over bigotry is everyone just needs to meet each other. If these Republican racists had a Muslim neighbor or a black neighbor, they would think differently. And I think that may be true, but you're putting a lot of burden on minority communities.
Yeah, that's not an accurate thing to say, but like, if we're talking about like a lot of these like lumpenprol that fucking live in rural Kentucky or some shit, that's not gonna fucking work, right? Like, sure, a lot of like exposure therapy can be effective, but I think that's like for like more city Republican type people, or even like maybe even suburbanites. A lot of like rural people, it can be effective, like just like exposure therapy, but like maybe, you know, I'm not sure if I agree with that 100%, Alex, because I think broadly speaking, I think Mehdi Hasan already knew about just how bad it was in America, and sort of like, maybe not like a full range and scope, but he knew that like these people are out there, right? Like, I don't think that's like hyperbolic to say, to be honest. No, I think he already had like an idea, right? I think he already knew. The problem is, in rural areas, people think in terms of acres. The more acres the immigrants buy up, the more racist white people get. I guess, yeah, probably. Like the idea that it's like, oh, the immigrants, they took our, or they're taking our land and our gerbs, or shit like that. But yeah, I think Mehdi Hasan already sort of had an understanding of just how bad it was out there for people who are still like open Trump supporters even to this day. Like, will just unabashedly defend everything he does and says, and sort of like, even with like the Epstein file stuff, right? Like, there's like a complete fucking civil war schism with that alone. I think he already like kind of knew, but maybe like the sort of extent, the range, the scope, maybe he didn't know about that as much. I think it's the only sort of argument. Yeah, I think he already knew, but now he's like, I know I've been privileged, but now he feels like a brown man. He might have had a head start with his money and a place to flee to, but they will go after him. Maybe, right? Like, again, you have to you forget, Alex, that like these people are sniveling fucking cowards overall, right? They'll do like the whole like song and dance thing, but very often when like rubber meets the road, unless there's like a lot of them congregating in a particular area, they're not gonna fucking do anything. And like Mehdi Hasan even said himself, he had fucking security on hand just in case. Like, I don't think they were like, if they were to fucking pull anything like strange and weird, like, not only would that make them look way worse already, like, let's say like one of them hypothetically decided to do it, like throw a swing at fucking Mehdi Hasan. Let's say they like throw a punch or some shit. That's gonna make them look even fucking worse than they already do. But also, like, the security is just gonna like jump on them and like beat the fucking shit out of them. Like, it would not be a good look, and right wingers would have to do everything possible to like turn themselves into complete fucking pretzels in order to like try to deflect away from that stuff, because it would be like, if that were to happen, it would be irredeemable.
It should not be the burden of minority communities to end other people.
Also, that stuff would not be on fucking video, right? That shit would get fucking cut.
People's bigotry. And I think that's something we should all keep in mind, especially our white liberal allies. Thank you, Jen. Max Boyer says, do you think there would be any utility in the left having a similar engagement bait type thing like this? It seems to influence the national conversation online. Good question, Max. I'll have to think about that one. Josephine Nguyen says, after going through this experience, do you believe that formats such as Surrounded add to the conversation in a positive way, or do you believe that they actually platform and therefore embolden and legitimize people from the extreme right wing, allowing them to find and connect with each other more easily and disseminate their ideas? Fantastic question, Josephine. Gets to the heart.
That is a good question.
Legitimate criticism. And I completely hear this. And I'm torn. I've been thinking about nothing else for the last 72 hours. Was it the right thing to do? Will this be a positive or negative thing?
Yeah, I'm curious to see I'm very curious at what Mehdi Hasan, because I've already expressed my position. I don't think it helps. It does nothing, right? Like, it's just complete debate slop content. Like, there's no point. Like I said before, these people don't believe in the social contract. They don't believe in polite society. They don't believe in democracy. They believe in nothing. They just say the things they do because it gets them fucking social media clicks, and also because, again, they just want power for themselves. Like, that's the whole point of this. So it's like you're not engaging with people who are honest. There's like no point in talking with these people. You can't talk with these people. They're just complete utter freaks.
Run. I don't think there's a right answer right now, but let me engage with your question in as good faith as possible. Do I believe that they add to a positive? Clearly, I believe that when I agree, right? I didn't agree blindly. I thought about it. I thought, look, there's pros and cons to doing this. I did my research. I talked to people like Sam. I talked to friends and colleagues, family, and I made a decision to do it, knowing the risks, which Josephine outlines. They could embolden and legitimize people, and it could put me in an unsafe position. Having said that, again, let's just be devil's advocate since you put the critical question. Let me put the other side. The other side of the argument says that yes, well, first of all, I'm not platforming them. I have some deniability. I mean, it's not my show. Zeteo did not organize. I will be clear. Some people left comments on our post saying, "Why did Zeteo do this?" Zeteo did not make the show. Zeteo did not platform these people. Zeteo did not pick these people. Zeteo is not behind the show at all. Our greatest sin was that we shared some clips from it on the Zeteo accounts, as is our one. But so we didn't platform them. But did I embolden or legitimize them? You could make that argument that by being there, sitting across from me, a mainstream journalist, me giving them the time of day, they were legitimate. And I've seen this online. You remember the blonde white woman who came to talk about Gaza? She's been on a few episodes. She's basically a white Christian nationalist. She tweeted out like, "Oh, watch the baseball cap guy Joseph. Watch him with this 46-year-old journalist. He destroys him." So they do use this stuff to try and legitimize their own argument. Say, look at us. We went toe to toe with X or Y on Surrounded, and we won. Obviously, they didn't win, but that's how they sell it on their side via their algorithm to their echo chamber. So I get that. That's 100% a problem. I would push back against the idea that this helps them connect with each other and disseminate their ideas. Sorry, they're already disseminating their ideas. The internet, Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, all of these folks have already helped these people.
This is a good point.
And push their ideas. Social media and the internet have
This is a fantastic point here by Mehdi Hasan. Yeah, 1000%. All the fucking billionaires are pretty much in lockstep. Like, by their removal of like more moderation tools and like rollbacking of like TOS protections and stuff like that. Yeah, like that just only helps the fucking fascists. So yeah, I'm kind of like inclined to still. I still don't believe there's like Jubilee as like a platform is just like complete utter dog shit. But I'm also partial to the fucking point that Mehdi Hasan brings, saying like, yeah, I do think like you probably should go on these platforms and just like expose these people. Like, you know, the best way to sort of like sunlight is the best disinfectant. That's the fucking goddamn term, right? Or saying rather. It's just it's one of those things that's like super dependent and like really difficult to assess. Like, if this was like a conservative platform, for example, like then no, fuck that. There's like no point. If it's supposed to be like a more neutral platform, like Jubilee support, like, but I don't think like Jubilee exactly does that. It's just like a monetizable like debate slop content, which is why I'm like, I do not like Jubilee as a fucking platform. It's just sport, pretty much, like just for the express purpose of trying to like sell a product. Like that's really what like Jubilee is. But like you can also like make the argument, well, it's like, well, I mean, it's important to be able to like reach a certain people, and if you like offer like nothing at all in terms of pushback, then it gets like further disseminated. It's one of those things where it's such a complicated sort of thing to assess that it's purely fucking subjective, right? I think it just depends on the person, it depends on the topic, it depends on the fucking platform. It's one of those things where it's super fucking hard to sort of like do. Now, okay, let's hypothetically speaking, let's say I had like, I don't know, I was like a big enough channel to get like an invite to do a Jubilee or whatever the fuck, and I go on there. Would I want to do it? I almost want to say no. I guess it depends on the fucking topic, right? Like, if it's a topic that it is like an actual legitimate debate, then yeah, sure, absolutely. But if it's like stuff about like human rights or like climate change or like like Israel-Palestine stuff, I don't think I would go on there, because what's the fucking point? Like, because I know the types of people that Jubilee are probably going to get on the fucking platform to try to debate, well, me, for example. And there's just no point, right? Like, I know they're just going to be complete, utter fucking charlatans. So it's just like, well, in that case, I would not accept. If it's something like, say, like policy wonkery, like something that you can like be like more technocratic about, then yeah, sure, absolutely. But that's not going to make for very good fucking television. That doesn't make for very good YouTube video. That's going to be like really boring and not go like super viral. So Jubilee will never agree to do something like that, right? Like, that's not going to fucking happen.
embolden all these people. That's what's so scary about. Somebody asked me the other day, it's like the Ku Klux Klan. In some ways, they're obviously not as bad as the KKK. The KKK were lynching people and burning crosses on lawns. In some ways, they are worse than the KKK in the sense that the KKK was never normalized this online. They had to meet in secret and send paper messages to each other. Now, these guys are openly online sharing this stuff on Elon Musk's hell site and being amplified by the algorithm in the case of Zuckerberg's Facebook. We've seen lots of evidence of that. So that is a problem. But to go back to the question, yes, it is a real risk that by doing these shows, you are legitimizing and emboldening these people. The counter to that argument is, number one, they're being legitimized and emboldened anyways, online, all over Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, etc. Number two, it's good to expose these people and have someone like me actually tear them apart, which I think I did. And three, even if I don't do it, and this is the worst argument I'm embarrassed to even say, but I'm going to say it. If I don't do it, someone else is going to do it. And I know people say that's not an argument to do bad things. Completely agree. But Surround is not going away. They've got 10 million audience. They are doing these shows. Someone I know is about to do another Surround. They've already taped. I just discovered it this week, coming out in August. You'll see her show very soon. So it's already happening. So why not send your best? Okay. Very modestly he says. No, why not have someone like me who knows how to debate go and actually debunk some of these people? That's the counter. But I'm saying I'm on the fence. I hear you, Joseph. I hear both sides. There's the one side that says it's good to debate.
Yeah, like that's like the whole thing, right? It's just hitting the nail on the head. Like it's such a subjective thing, and it's just the problem. The fundamental real problem, it's the fucking platform itself. Like, Jubilee is just such a fucking wretched, terrible fucking platform. Like, I know there's like the fucking current petition and movement to try to like demonetize Jubilee, being done by I think Matt Bernstein, right? The dude who wears the fucking makeup, right? The gay guy who wears the makeup and shit like that with the yassified fucking nails constantly. I don't know how efficacious that's going to really be. I don't like disagree with the sort of like notion, but the thing is like I don't think it's gonna fucking happen, right? Like I think that Jubilee should lose their monetization status for just like being able to sort of like create this like debate slop content and just sort of not parrot but like hawk these ideas, I suppose. Then yeah, I don't think that's like an inaccurate thing to say, but it becomes like it's just such a fucking like difficult like assessment. Like I think overall I probably would agree with like the demonetization of like Jubilee, but I'm like kind of like on the fence about that one, I'll be honest. Where I do think like Jubilee is just such a fucking wretched, terrible platform. Like they just have like the most idiotic, stupid fucking debates constantly for like the sake of like commodified fucking media and just be able to make as much money as possible. That it's just like, yeah, I think it's like it would probably be fair to just like fucking demonetize them so then they just don't fucking do that shit anymore, right? It's just it's such a difficult sort of line to sort of like have. Jubilee is meh, but they're not that bad. I think they're pretty bad, to be honest, AJ, because like I think like one of the recent debates that they had was like anorexic people versus fucking fat people, and it's just like okay, bro, like this is just like so fucking stupid. Like it's like a modern day debates kind of a deal thing, like where modern day debates will also have like some of those just like silliest topics constantly. They'll very often it's like esoteric like religion debates, and it's just like yeah, it's like they also had the one debate where some transphobe popped a trans person's balloon. Yeah, exactly. It just becomes like it's just like spectacle for the sake of spectacle, and it's just like that's not going to be very conducive to the sort of like format that debate is supposed to bring, and that's like the biggest problem that I have with like Jubilee.
Good to expose, good to humiliate these people, good to show America what's out there, what the threat is, and the platform's already there, whether we like it or not. The counter is, but in doing so, you are emboldening and maybe legitimizing some of these folks and engaging in polarizing clickbait. I totally get both arguments. And Nadia asked something similar. Nadia Martini says, "Is it worth debating such people with extreme views? Are you just giving them airtime?" Personally, I've come to the conclusion that we will never change their beliefs. Nadia, I won't get into the whole. Is it worth? I just dealt with that. But we're running out of time. But I do want to deal with the point about never changing their minds. I don't debate people to change their minds. I say this in my book very clearly. I don't debate Michael Gove last week in London. That video will be dropping any day now.
Yeah, if you go into debate to try to change your opponent's mind, there's like, nah, there's no point. Well, I mean, the thing is, AJ, is it, yeah, sure, Fox News is also on YouTube and is monetized, but the problem is that, and we know this throughout, like, a lot of sort of reporting now, is conservatives get special fucking carve-outs, because if the TOS was enforced on conservative channels like it is on any other fucking channel, they would either be banned or, like, sent to the fucking shadow realm in terms of, like, algorithmic sort of like prioritization and stuff like that. They very often get special carve-outs. Like Twitter did special carve-outs, YouTube does special carve-outs, Facebook does special carve-outs, because again, if they were enforcing the TOS fairly, well, they would all get fucking banned or shadow banned or demonetized. All of them, if it was like sort of like applied evenly. Like, yeah, unironically, it's DEI for fucking fascists, because a lot of these like media conglomerates and corporations. And this is the actual root basis of the problem. They're all fucking private institutions. They care only about one thing and one thing only, and that's the profit motive. They know if they lose those people, they're not going to be able to make as much money. That's the actual problem. So they have to fucking cater to them for the express purposes of, well, like, if we don't want to, like, lose, like, potential market cap or, like, market sort of, like, accessibility, we have to cater to these, like, complete fucking freaks and let them be able to say the things that they say.
On Trump. I don't debate people to change the other person's mind. I debate people to change the watching audience's mind. It's not about me versus X or Y. It's about me versus X and Y in front of Z, in front of Z, in front of ABC. It's the watching audience that I'm interested in. I'm not interested in the other person. I'm not stupid. I'm not going to change Michael Gove's mind. I'm not going to change this fascist mind in the 5 minutes I have in sitting in front of me. But I might be able to change the people who are on the fence, people watching in the middle, people who are open-minded and willing to actually switch over from right to left, or even the low information voters in America who don't even follow politics, don't even follow these arguments, don't know what a fascist is, don't know what great replacement theory is, don't realize how bad Trump is, but they watch Surrounded, they watch Jubilee Media because they're a kid or a teenager or their child tells them to, and this is the first time they're exposed to these arguments. So that's my goal.
Sure.
Maybe a utopian and naive goal, but that's my goal. Anne Harris says, I'm a retired teacher from the UK. How much do you think the US education system is today? A lot. I think the US education system is broken. I certainly think when it comes to civics, we've failed.
Thank you. Yep, because that's honestly one of the biggest root causes. Education in the United States is fucking dog shit.
Greatly in teaching the value of constitutional rights, democracy, equality, all of this stuff. And it's only going to get worse with the Trump administration's assault, not just on the Department of Education and curriculum in general, but also specifically on diversity and equity initiatives, right? DEI is now a dirty word. Any progress that the American education system made in terms of teaching the sins of slavery and some of the more accurate retelling of Americans' historical, that's all gone now. Now we're going to get the propaganda version of American history. Now we're going to get any discussion of racism being taboo in our schools and campuses. So I think it's only going to get worse, and these fascists are only going to be more emboldened, sadly. Certainly for the next 3 years. That's unfortunate reality. Russell Cater said, any thoughts on Jubilee, the format, whether it's conducive to changing minds? Again, I hope so. I hope we can change the audience's mind. The format is, in and of itself, was fun, right? Just the format. That's what appealed to me. The idea of sitting in the middle, as someone who debates, loves to argue, I live for this stuff, I'm so sorry, I'll be honest. Sitting in a circle with 20 people, I like those odds. I do. Somebody don't. 2020 wasn't fair on Mehdi, they should have made it 40 to 1, he says modestly. Okay, we're almost out of time. I mean, thanks to wrap this up. Let us wrap up soon. Let's take a couple more quickly. Sorry, there's so many questions in the chat. I've not got to all of them. I hope I've dealt with some of the similar questions. Let's scroll down, because I've been going one by one. The laughter of fascism was horrible. Yes, it was. Fred Meyer says, did you come up with a sense of how some of these people might be turned around to the reality that their beliefs are dangerous to the rest of us? Fred, I actually think it's worse than that. I think they know that their beliefs are dangerous to us. I think Connor knows that. Joseph knows that. That's why it's threatening. He didn't just say, I think that you should be deported. He said, get the hell out. And then when he walked over, he said, you'll be the first to go. So it's a threatening. A very well-known journalist, I won't take his name, texted me yesterday saying, I watched that Jubilee thing, and all I could think of, it was a violent exchange. The violence being the threatening language. I think they know that. And that's why fascism is so dangerous, because they're not actually interested in debate. Ultimately,
yeah, again, I think like there's not really much else to say here. Like Mehdi Hasan is just completely just hitting everything on the head. Like the point, the intimidation, the fear, the violence. That's the point, right?
When they take power, if they take power, God forbid, they want to kill their opponents. And we're seeing some of that now. That's what ISIS do. ISIS is a fascist militia, very much so.
True.
Let's take a couple more. Kurt says, what are the rules restrictions the Jubilee puts on the participants? I mean, not to be ad hominem, but I hope. Try and engage with the arguments, although many didn't. Let's see, let's keep going.
Honestly, if Jubilee were to actually put that sort of stipulation on the conservatives, they would not get fucking I'm making that call right now. They will not get any more fucking conservatives on fucking Jubilee because they'll be like, woke Jubilee is capitulating to the left. We actually have to engage with the arguments. Nah, I don't want to engage with the arguments because they're not interested in any of that stuff.
Says, do you think the time will come when you may have to move your business Zeteo out of the US? I hope not, but that's the path of travel we're going on right now. If democracy ends, then free media cannot exist. This is what I tell all my journalist friends. You are not neutral in this debate about fascism and Trump. You are not disinterested bystander standing on a hill watching. If democracy ends in America, the free press ends in America. We have skin in the game, journalists. I mean, to be very clear that for our own survival, as journalists, as media institutions, we need democracy to survive. And right now, democracy is under assault like never before in our lifetimes.
Sure.
So right now, let's keep going. Any other comments? Lots of support. Thank you very much. Vasim also asked, why did you bring up Zionism? Well, it wasn't really relevant. I think I made my points about Israel quite strongly in the debate on Gaza. You can watch my interaction with the Iranian American, where I really did kind of put him on the spot for his ghastly views, which even the white supremacists in the room were not supporting it.
Well, it's because, like, in reality, there's no point in talking about Zionism with these people because they're anti. A lot of them are going to be fucking anti-Semitic, and they'll be like, yeah, I agree with a lot of the anti-Zionist sort of things because again, like they control the annals of power through like AIPAC and all these like different corporations and stuff. Like, yeah, so like I totally agree with like the destruction of Israel. We should free Palestine because fuck that, fuck the Jews is what they would actually think. Well, they wouldn't be explicit about it, but like they would talk about like Hollywood and all this other like fucking bullshit, constant like all the like stupid conspiracism and shit like that, right?
Media asked about how to keep composure. I mentioned earlier, like I don't know actually to be honest how I kept my composure. I think it was because I had a producer. I think I had a producer of mine who was just there for moral support. I could see him in the distance offset, and I think he had his head in his hands. I thought I had my own virtual head in my hands, thinking, "What is going on?" I think it was more just I was shocked. I think I stayed calm just because I was shocked. It takes a lot to make me speechless, but some of these people made me speechless. Janet Resnick Wandel said, "How can the left make use of this exposure?" I do think this is one of the good things about this is we can get our points across. I was able to make a pro-immigration case that millions of people have now seen, and I hope even by osmosis they somehow accept that. We'll keep going. We're almost out of time. Let's quickly wrap up.
I mean, we all know why the talk on immigration, why immigration it's so bad as it is. you gotta thank the fucking Democrats on that for not pushing back or doing anything about fucking immigration, And because Joe Biden himself is also a fucking racist.
Gabriel Montoya asks, do you think this set of 20 fascists dispels the notion that hatred and racism will die out with the older generation? Great last question to end on. No. And that is the most important thing I hope people hear and everyone take away from this conversation.
Point.
This is not some old, we are not on some linear arc of progress. Martin Luther King said the moral arc of the universe bends towards justice. He's right. But we have to bend it. It doesn't bend on its own. We have to bend it towards justice. We have to drag it towards justice. That is what I'm trying to do with Zeteo, what I'm trying to do with these debates. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. It's what drives me, what helps me get out of bed in the morning. I hope it's what drives all of you. And I appreciate all of your support for Zeteo. I wish I could have taken more questions, but this is one of my biggest downloads ever. I hope I've answered a lot of the questions and criticisms. Appreciate you taking time out on a Thursday. Please make sure your friends and family subscribe to Zeteo. If you don't like Jubilee Media, if you don't like Fox, if you don't like right-wing media, support Zeteo. We don't do clickbait. We have substantive journalism. Those of you know, we have deep dive investigations, big documentaries, big pieces.
You should support Zeteo. They're a very good platform.
Consider becoming founding members. Support what we're doing because journalism is very much under threat right now. But I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much.
Nice. Yeah, good to hear the sort of retrospective. I mean, pretty much like he hits the nail on the head, like with like everything, like basically everything. Like not really much to sort of like a quibble about, to be honest. It's just like it's one of those things where it's just like very, very often, like you can't, with like platforms, for example, that exist, like Jubilee and stuff like that. A lot of the basis for the problems here is the fact that it's commodified media, right? Like the profit motive is there. Stuff like that is going to make a lot of fucking money. Again, like we've seen the view count on this fucking video. It's almost at 9 million views in about a week, and it's probably going to still climb up. It's going to probably hit like 10 million very, very easily. And it's just like, like a lot of this stuff is not going to change. It's a broader problem with the commodification of fucking media. That's why like stuff like this and like platforms like this continue to fucking exist. Like it's not a bad thing, obviously, to sort of like expose these people for the utter complete charlatans they are, freaks that they are. But like overall, in the grand scheme of things, it is hopeful and aspirational to sort of be like, yeah, well, I hope I was able to like reach these people, in the audience and stuff like that, because that's like the real purpose of like going onto platforms like this, like because that a lot of people are going to watch this of all walks of life, of all beliefs and stuff like that, and they're going to maybe like change their minds on something, maybe get convinced of something. That's like the actual goal, but it's so difficult to sort of assess that, and like it's like the overall hope, and overall like Jubilee is going to like benefit as like a platform as a result. It's all like just, it's like I've been saying before, it's really, really like the reason why I don't think you should support Jubilee as a platform is because if you're looking to have like those substantive debates that are interesting about like policy wonkery, about like all this different stuff, you're not going to get that on a platform like Jubilee because they're not interested in that. It's all about the slop content for them, which is why I'm more on the side of the fence of there's not really much of a point in engaging with a platform like Jubilee unless they're willing to do like policy wonkery sort of debates and stuff like that, and sort of like talk about like more interesting stuff. Because again, it's the sensationalism is the point, because the sensationalism is what sells. That's why they do what they do. So yeah, broadly speaking, I think like I can understand also the other side of the argument, saying like it's important to expose these freaks for what they are, and that's a bunch of freaks, and it's like that's also true as well. I don't think that's like a bad thing, but they're already exposing themselves on like a lot of social media platforms for the freaks that they are, right? Like through a lot of the carve-outs that Zuckerberg and Elon Musk are sort of like making on their social media platforms. So like, I don't know, do you need like a platform like Jubilee in order to be able to do that? I don't think so, right? I think they're already doing that themselves. Like, if you talk with like any fucking like normie at all, they all like, I've talked with a bunch of normies about this stuff. They all acknowledge that fucking social media is like a freak hellscape sort of like nonsense site because of all of these like fascistic morons that exist on there. And I don't know, like sort of like the point of having to like expose these people, I think doesn't ring hollow. It's just not as effective because they're already exposing themselves to be like the complete fucking freaks that they are. So yeah, I mean overall, like it was nice to get like Mehdi Hasan's like overall retrospective on his Jubilee debate. I think Jubilee fundamentally as a platform is still like complete dog shit, broken. Like it's all about like media sensationalism and making money for them in the end, and that's like really, really all there is to say about that. Like Jubilee, I think is still like a pretty shit platform overall. Don't think there's really much else to say besides that.